Chancellor, thank you for talking with us. We appreciate it very much. I'd like to begin in Europe. As we meet, we are faced with a potential Eurozone crisis yet again, the problems in Greece. I wonder how you can reassure your G7 partners that the German-led, European Union-led strategy vis-à-vis Greece is actually correct, that it's not going to end in an inevitable default from Greece, or what they call a Grexit over here.
I will only be one of several Europeans. Also, the IMF will be present in Elmau during the G7 summit. The negotiations with Greece are basically pursed by the European Commission, the IMF and the central bank. So this is not a German-dominated negotiating format, but it's these three institutions that talk to Greece and with Greece. But we all wish, obviously, politically speaking, that we come to a result. Greece wishes to be part of the Eurozone, but it will have to do what's necessary in order to make this possible. Basically pursuing reforms, otherwise it will not be able to return to a growth path. But we will be able to say that the three institutions are working very hard with Greece and having very intensive talks with them.
You've made climate change one of the key points this upcoming weekend ahead of the climate conference in Paris. It's clearly dear to your heart, but I wonder at how you hope to actually move these targets beyond aspirational targets as a group. How do you enforce them? What would your message be, for example, to Prime Minister Stephen Harper on tough issues for Canada like the oil sands and carbon emissions?
Erstens ist Klima ein Thema, auch ein wichtiges Thema, aber natürlich stehen die Themen
climate change is one issue, an important issue, but obviously global economy, foreign policy challenges are also in the foreground. We will deal with health, global health, also empowerment of women. That too will be discussed. So it's not only about climate, because the G7 are responsible for a fairly large part of CO2 emissions, but on our own, without the emerging economies such as India and China, we will not be able to make any success, to make any progress here. We will not be able to keep within the 2-degree limit. We will have to first and foremost commit to the financing of those who suffer most from the impact of climate change. 100 billion per year will have to be earmarked as of 2020, but then as a result of what we already agreed in Copenhagen, that we have not as yet come up with the necessary funding, not from private and public monies. And the other thing is that individual countries will also commit to mitigating targets, and Canada will do that as well, although, of course, oil sands and other sources of energy are used there. Germany too is using coal. We have not been able to exit from all of these fossil fuels, but we have to make ambitious goals for the next few years.
I'd like to close looking at Russia and Vladimir Putin. You are the European politician who has his ear. It's been a year since he was uninvited from the G7. Some people are saying, or the G8 as it was then, some people are saying it was a mistake, especially when we have so many global crises, ISIS, you mentioned Ebola, influence in Syria. How do you re-engage with Vladimir Putin when he has been expelled from this club, if you like? What forums are available?
The
G7 and earlier the G8 were a group of countries that shared the same values as regards freedom and democracy. And through the annexation of Crimea, Russia, in a way, was at a crossroads and showed that these values of integrity, of the borders of a country, of sovereignty of a country, have not been respected. So it is a pity that Russia is not with us, but, as I see it, unavoidable. But we still have a lot of formats where we talk with the Russian president. For example, the Normandy format, where Germany and France talk to Russia about Ukraine, with Ukraine about how to bring this conflict to a solution. I would like to mention the format of the 5 veto powers in Germany that are trying to, contain nuclear armament of Iran. We hope that these talks will be crowned by success, and Russia is a very active partner in this format. Russia has played a very constructive part, for example, when it was about destroying the chemical weapons of Syria, and ending the civil war in Syria is something where we absolutely need Russia. Russia is going to play an absolutely crucial role in bringing this about. I was very gratified to see that the American Secretary of State met in Sochi with the Russian president. There are a number of conflicts that we cannot solve without the help of Russia, and we will have to find the suitable diplomatic channels to remain in a dialogue with Russia.